Okay. I think this is where it's supposed to appear, and I looked for it.
Okay, we're back. We're session 2 of DM8. And Beth is sharing her screen.
I am sharing my screen,
Yes, you are.
looking for Bridget. Yep. Well,
Okay, I just sent a message in Canvas to you, Beth, so
okay.
with the attached zip folder, so you should get it. Here's hoping.
Okay, so it comes in here, unless there is another place that I don't know about. And there it is. And there it is. Yeah, so this is what I was looking for, but and then my submissions, maybe I missed it in here. No, I did put that in there like that. Well, I want to wait for Bridget to finish, and then we'll look at both of yours so that everybody's looking at the same time. Let's see, I'm going to open up something we're going to be looking at next.
So Beth,
Yes.
the fall schedule does not have DM8.
No, DM8 is never in the fall because it's in the
Oh, I thought
spring.
you asked about DM8 in the fall. Okay.
No, I asked if it's in the spring.
Well, we haven't finalized that yet, have we?
No, I just
It's being built right
wondered
now.
if we talked about it.
I don't think we talked
I
about it.
think
That's
so.
being built right now. I'm assuming it is because it's the normal spring, but
Yeah,
that's being built right now, right? So
as we speak.
as we speak, as we Zoom.
Okay. We'll be looking at this. This is Oculto. Got lost. It's also the name of beers and all kinds of other things. So the design part got lost, but we're going to be seeing that in a little bit. Okay. Bridget, are you back?
I am. Sorry, my computer is super slow. I'll be there in just a sec.
Okay.
Okay, I just sent it to you.
And that it's in Canvas or in email? So I just got Jane's here.
Hi, Beth. This is Yeso. Have you
Hi.
received mine or so?
Yeah, hi.
Hi.
Did you turn in yours? Let's see.
Submitted, and also I just sent an email to you.
Okay, great. Well, let's take a look at those. And I will. Now, Giselle, is yours in Canvas?
Yes, Canvas email.
Canvas email, okay. There it is. Okay, good. And there's Bridget's. Okay. All right. Thank you. And when they're in IDML, I go ahead and look at them as InDesign files so that I can help you with that if you need it. And so Bridget has done what we were talking about earlier when you have adjacent paragraphs is there is, just look at this, there's no indent in the first paragraph. Occasionally in some publications, for a very special kind of look they're trying to get, you'll see that, but there's they're doing that in Wired now, and so some of the pages will have an indent with a large letter that's the first letter of the starting sentence. So they're doing things that are experimental. And so generally there's never a first line indent in the first paragraph, but there are in the subsequent ones, and this is the right amount. And so the type size and the line length are looking pretty readable. You might, just a teeny bit more leading could be helpful, and we could just kind of look at that and see if I'm telling the truth or not. So I could get in here and see what it would look like. Right now you've got a good amount, but I'm thinking that maybe 15 is just a little bit better. So 15 puts a little bit more air between the lines in this case, and might be better. And then we're also talking about span and duration. So this would be you'd probably put an in dash in there.
Okay, good eye.
Yeah. So then, and you've got your, I think I like this better, just for the long line lengths. I think that you get to the beginning better. And this is exactly what I had in mind to be exploring the possibilities and then illustrating them on a page that describes what you're looking for and what you're doing, that has some element of your identity on it, which is the wonderful bee that's shaded in the background. So this has also has some directional things going on that I really like. So I'm going to go back to Shift W here. The bee is sort of angled down here like this, and then there's this kind of thing going on subtly with the documents that are here. So and they're pointing to this. I don't know if you meant to do that, but that's what's happening on the page. You can say you meant to do it. But so anything that's angled or anything that's on the page is participating in the dance. And it's like it's like you're seeing things from the air, elements moving around, or like painting or that kind of thing. So it's like a lot of things. But that's what's making this page hang together really nicely. And as for the content, explaining what it is you have planned, how you want to see it look, generally what the elements are going to be like. And this, because we're going to continue to explore possibilities, investigate, do research. This could change your mind. You could change your mind about this. There's still room to do that. But even since we're all together and focused on this, changing your mind now is a really good time to do it. So and you don't do that unless you actually do research and see other things that might give you more ideas. So this is all about exploring and looking things up and finding out exactly what, oops, pressed the wrong one, what it is that you want to have happen. So this is getting closer to the goal, and in a very nice way. So being able to
Thank you.
publish something that looks professional in the process is another thing that we're working on for this. So that turned out just right. And go to, now I'm not sure, I'll see if this, you'll see, I will see if this works. No. So, anything that's in InDesign needs to be packaged so that I have an IDML version. Anything in InDesign, because most of you have the 2020 or something like that. So I'll have to look at this. So there needs to be an IDML in here. And that you get by packaging. So I've been kind of sending, see if I can find it here. You go to this. You go to File, Package, right, like that. And it packages the file, puts the fonts in, puts an IDML file, puts a PDF in, and all files for the last year or two need to be packaged that way so that I can read the IDML file. So it's been several versions, but that's important too, so that I can help you with the InDesign part. Is that this, because I can't open the InDesign file, I can't help you with that right now. So let's go take a look at, and this is the kind of like the one I was talking about earlier, where the portfolio is all in one, like, let's see, I can't get, where am I here? There we go, where it's all in, it's put together from a tabloid size page. So if you're going to do something like that, play around with the actual page itself. And then for this one, I would probably put this at the top without the type up here, just in terms of readability, and move these up to here and put this line of type, bring that down here, and then making sure that these are all aligned out here for this part. So typographically, we want to work on alignment. Also, the type on here can be smaller and with more leading to be more readable. So those are the things we've been talking about. Also, a subhead needs to go closer to the type it goes with and farther from the type it doesn't go with. So you have more leading above a heading than below it, so that this is more space at the top. And that's proximity, that puts the heading close to the type it goes with. And for this one, that's okay for that to be there. But this space then would need to be the same, just so that you'd, and let's see if we can fit this on the page a little bit better. And so this works fine with the pink border for online, but it would, if you were going to do this for print, that would be very hard to keep the width of that pink border as a bleed, because the pink needs to go off the page. So you would need to have more pink on the page in order to make sure that it doesn't get thin and thinner on the edge when the paper's trimmed off. But that's just for a paper situation. But this is looking really nice. I would, this part right here, this should go up here so that it doesn't have an interference from the type here, and this type should go down underneath. So these all have nice white space around them to show them off. And yes, it's really looking nice. And this logo is very nice too. It could probably be a little bit bigger for this part, and this project 4 might be smaller so that this is more prominent. But overall, very nice and well considered, thinking about what you need and when you need it. So that would be good. All right, so this is experiment with that, experiment with your folded portfolio. I think it's a good idea. Okay.
Thank you.
Really, really nice colors on that one too. And IDML. Okay. Well, this looks very strong. Really nice. So this one as a PDF works fine, and these days we don't have to worry about bleed because we're not taking things to the printer. So we can have our bleeds, have our stuff go to the edge. I'm going to do a Shift W here. For the body text to be more readable, I would probably never use an italic for readability. That's why they don't, why it doesn't appear any place for readability. So you'd use that for captions and some other things, but for body text, it's just not used. So use just the regular body text, and that's not italic. And for this one right here, when we're talking about Ye's piece, the online presentation would be, this needs to be closer to this and farther from this. So it's proximity. It's the major, one of those major.
Yeah, I was fiddling around with that. I was just,
yeah.
I was trying to find the balance of space before and space after with them.
Yeah, so it should be at least that much. So it's like probably just the leading of this. So it would probably be, so this is, well, that's get that and just track that a little tighter. So the heading goes with the type that it introduces, and that would be the same for up here. Is so you would make that be this. That's a little bit too much, but you can make. Let me get the smaller numbers up here. So you probably just want to make it 4 like that. So that's proximity, putting the heading close to the type that it goes with and farther from the type that it does not go with. So that would be how that should look. And then for this part here, it would be and if there's no standard type in there's no regular type in that, so you might want to just well, this is showing them. Let's just go up here and do a so something maybe more like chaparral or something like that, so that and then that part would be probably wouldn't want to have it, so you want to go up here and make it just left aligned left like that. But if you want it to be tight around this, then you'd have to look at the yeah, but when you make things hug a line and you get a whole lot of big holes in the type, that's something when you justify it and then you see that like that, when you left justify it and you start getting holes in the type. This is pretty good though. So yeah, just right in here is a little bit difficult. So those are things to think about just for readability for anything that you're going to put out there representing yourself. And I'll go back and put that there like that. Oops, see, then it gets get these big holes in here, even with the type being a little bit smaller. So 12-point type is generally considered large for body text. The National Geographic and magazines are 9 or 10. So again, you'd probably get out your measuring tools for some of this and look at that. You might go down to 11, and then you'd have a little bit better space. 11, and then that could be less, so maybe 15. So 11 over 15. Again, this would speak to experimenting with the different possibilities for type, size, and leading, and then take a look at it again. So I encourage everybody to look for holes in your type if you're justifying it, and think about what does it take to make that not have holes, and that would be to make the type smaller, or you could try tracking it tighter, but if it's justified, then you'd probably just be making bigger holes. So this is for anything that you're putting out in print to make that work out a little bit better. And if I didn't want this up here, that first line of type, I'm probably, yeah. So you'd be playing around with your text, the edges of your text frame there. But this is a little, this is more readable because it's got more leading and it's not italicized, and it's still 11 point, which is still not chunky, but it's a good size reading type. Magazines are usually 9 or 10 point, and that also speaks to taking your leading ruler and going and measuring things that are real and finding out what they really are. And I think that this puts more emphasis on the star of the show, where it's not this part is not competing with your illustration is standing out. So that would be something to think about. Also for anything like this down here, you want to make sure that you have real small caps, and I don't believe these are. So you'd have these are just type that's made smaller. Even when you press the small caps, you cannot produce a drawn type small caps typeface from that. It usually just shrinks them down. So study up on small caps. That's something that the professionals notice, usually. So there's just tons online about that. So I might write a whole pamphlet on small caps.
Those should be true small caps. I mean, it's Adobe Garamond, and supposedly
Yeah,
it should have true small caps.
It should, but it doesn't. What if I were to do this, and there's a typeface that does, and I think I just put it up there so that and not bold, but regular italic. So regular, let's do light italic. See how the widths of the characters are the same there? See how this is very fat and this is thin? That's how you can tell if this were the same width as this, then that would be true small caps, like these are. These are true small caps. This width of the R and the width of the C are the same. You can look up small caps. Should I use fake small caps? How do I find out if it's small caps or not? I have about 6 or 7 articles on it, so it's something to know about. So if this were all just, so Chaparral Pro has a regular, if I just want italic. So that's a typeface with true small caps that are drawn, created by the type designer to be small caps. They're not just reduced all caps. So I'll probably send out a little bit more about that, just so you all know. And so that's something that, not even though it's Caslon or Garamond or something like that, the small caps is expensive, and so it's a redrawn font. It's not just a reduced from a normal size. But that's, again, that would be for this part up here too. So how fat that part is compared to the C. So getting to know which ones have small caps, and just so everybody knows, almost no fonts, sans serif fonts, have small caps. You have to buy them. So but this overall, what you've got going with your look here is just, it's very dramatic, and it's really, really nice. So you can support it with your type by just making a few tiny changes. And so those are all things to keep in mind. But you're definitely on the right track with your look for this. Really nice. I'm not going to save that. Okay. Don't save. Okay. Now, for the next thing, I was going to show things that some of the portfolio pieces that I've enjoyed, and one of them was this this company called Occulto. And when I looked up Occulto, it was all about beer and about 15 other things. And so I couldn't remember I knew his first name was Pablo, and I kept getting musician who was floating around the wrong Pablo. And so I finally found it, and he's on Behance now. So he's I think he's from Spain or someplace. Anyway, his whole series of looking at the world and things like that was really, really interesting. So I made a Word file and just started pulling things over from the site onto this Word file. But this is it's the cargocollective.com Occulto, and when you click on occulto.com, it takes you to some place that is not, can't find it. So that's what was happening with that. And so I went here and let's see. I went here and found it. And so I could see a lot of the things that I was remembering, but I'm going to go into my Word file and just take a look in there, because I started pulling things off the Behance page that I saw. Now, for my background, I had a lot to do with kind of costumed performance pieces, creating dramatic absurdities with performance stuff and doing the costumes for them. So I think that this is all right. Here we go. So I just put those links up there, but they're also really involved with hair and different kinds of hair or no hair in this case, different kinds of fashion statements. This one actually moves and twirls in an animation. It's a cup. And this cover that says Styles, the typography was pretty interesting. And then this is the artist's logo, so card, and we'll be seeing more of that. So Pablo Abad. And they just put things together. This is typography, I believe, a kind of typography. And then these letters, there's a whole font that has these letters that are animated that all have regular parts and then kind of quirky parts that keep changing. So this is, and these are tiers that you can stick on, tiers for your next party. And there's he just kind of puts these things together that are the blue tipped hand through the yellow slot, and piles up stuff like this. So stuff that's kind of textured and just where, what. And then there's this hairstyle that has There's a lot of work. And then these sort of things that are just sort of flying around in space. So there's some like furniture and design that other things that he's done, and just these sort of strange spatial things. And this is formed PK, really, with a face in a little PK bodice there. And then writing in different tones. I don't know if that's tones of color or tones of sound. And I like this double treble typeface. So the guy plays with all of these type kind of wild type things, and his own painting, which is enlarged on and the self-portrait. And a room scene. So the macaroni, speckled macaroni, a letter M for, and that looked like a Hopper print that from, let's see. This is a low poly version of this painting that David Hopper did of a friend of mine in his pool. And so when I saw this, it looked like there were sandals by the pool. So this is kind of a famous painting that somebody decided to do as a low poly, in a low poly treatment. Is that here? Here. So this is, we've been looking at this in a couple of classes, but you guys all know about low poly illustration? Yeah.
Yep.
So it's all reducing things to triangles. And the more there are, the more kind of gradual the changes are. So this sort of reminded me of that. And this is the Sistine Chapel in an eyeball. I thought that was this God and Adam or whoever it was touching their fingers in this. I don't think it's a contact lens, but it's just and this is page by page, playing with pages. And that's it for that. And then this is his other company besides the Occulto that everybody kind of co-opted. So he's in Madrid, and this logo up here is pretty standard, but also pretty nice. So it's got this kind of tower look to it, a little architectural. And so these were some pages that he has in this this company, this Mirador company. So looking at the way the type is done for something like this, when you're thinking about putting your work online, and thinking of the look and feel you want, how you want people to see the work, how much space between the work, what is, so this to me, I would probably want more space between these, like the previous thing where I took the images off of the other space, there was more space between. So this is looks like another macaroni something, playing with type a lot. And here's you've got book design. So if you get into book design, that's something to think about, how how you would treat pages. And these are the cards. The graphic design art direction is kind of clustered in the middle there. And I guess that's it. There was one other that had more of his things. No, I guess that's just mine. Yeah. So as you're exploring the way things are and what all possibilities there are for how you work, I have a couple of friends. We have a quartet called the Cruzettes, and we're old buddies. So we have, this is our first Zoom meeting. We hadn't seen each other in a long time, so that's our group hug. So this is Felicia Rice, who is the head of the Denim program. This is Laura Lee Albin, who is an award-winning AIGA designer. And this is Bobby Long, who's me down at CSUMB, and she's exactly 12 years younger than I am to the minute, in the same longitude. And here I am in my familiar space with my blurry. And so we had a little meeting and a little group hug here for, I was going to look at their work, and let's just see if, yeah. So Laws, we call her Laws, is a fellow of the AIGA, and she just won a big award for her design, and she's in town here. She has something called the Sea Change Design Institute. So she's done design for a whole lot of people, big companies, Procter and Gamble, Apple, like that, the aquarium. And she's got her Sea Change Institute, which is she's also had classes about creating sea changes in your life as designers or as people, and how that works. So these are all like her endeavors here. So she does workshops and coaching, and she's a photographer and an illustrator too. So this is how, because she's representing a whole lot of different things, this is how her site looks. So she's, and you can look at the typography. So she went to Basel School in Basel, Switzerland. Bobby Long, my dozen-year younger Bobby friend, they went to school together in Basel. So they went to design school, and there were some type people there who were like the giants of type, and so they became really good at type. So you can see she's paying attention to holes in type not being there. This is not justified. She's looking at the leading. She's looking at the secondary leading. This is all looking smooth and easy to read because the type's the right size, the leading's the right size, and the secondary leading's the right size. And so thinking in those terms, and she does a lot of her own illustrative work in photography. And as for using photographs, somebody else's photographs, you probably wouldn't want to do that, but you can see how alignment is really strong here. She has a lot of things to talk about. So when you go back over here, it's a little bit overwhelming, but she's does TED Talks and that kind of thing, and has her services are so product design and so how you put your work out there. And in her case, there's a lot of attention to typography, and that's kind of a standard. So she's worked with AIGA and has lots of experience with that. I think they even set type themselves in Basel, which gets me over to Felicia. So these are some of her drawings and photographs and things like that. And she has a little book called Born to Create that doesn't seem to be in here, but so how you present things in terms of putting type together with imagery and information is something that you'd really want to pay attention to. And so Felicia Rice is retired now. She ran the master's program in digital media up at UCSC for several years. And she's a letterpress typesetter and printmaker. And so she has done a lot of things that people are shouting out there. So she's done books like this about the kind of art pieces she does. So she does collaborative art pieces. And she's done this book that's all it is all accordion inside. So it's an accordion book with Spanish writing and things like, I don't know, popular culture. So for her work, I'm going to just
Beth, we're not hearing this, or I'm not hearing it.
Yeah, I can't hear the sound. I can see the
You're
imagery.
not hearing this?
No, we're not getting the sound.
Okay. I don't know
It's
how
in
to
the
get
link,
you the
maybe.
sound. I don't know how to get you the sound.
When you joined, did you say using computer audio? Because if you did, we should hear it.
Oh, I don't know. Computer audio. Where do I do
It's
that?
when you first join with Zoom. It says, join with computer audio. Did you say yes to that or no?
I didn't think about it.
Yeah, because otherwise we should be hearing it.
Well, I didn't press anything that said computer audio. Can I go back and do that?
You'd have to log out and log back in, and I'm not sure that that's the problem.
Is there a remote control? Is there more over here?
Is this on YouTube, this video?
Yeah.
What's the URL? I can try sharing it and see if that makes a difference.
Yeah, well, the URL is, let's see, let's go back here and get.
It's on YouTube. What can I search on to find it with YouTube? Oh, that's pretty. Ow, don't do that.
Okay, I'm trying to get,
Would it be book artist Felicia Rice Visionaries episode or book artist Felicia Rice on her book Order Bus? Is it one of those
It-
two?
oh, she's got a
Or
bunch of them.
Felicia Rice, founder of Moving Parts Press. Is it that one?
This is Immigrant Identity in America. You
Immigrant.
can see it on my, if you're
Immigrant.
looking.
And this is Felicia Rice. Identity. Let's see if that. Immigrant Identity in America. But it's not Felicia Rice, or is it? Let's see. Can you
Well,
post?
anyway.
Wait, here it is. I found it. I think I found it.
Or you could go to Moving Parts Press, Moving Parts Press.
I think I found it. Let me try to share it.
Oh yeah, I can hear that.
Stop.
Yeah, I can hear
Okay.
it too. I think you guys probably saw enough of that. Why don't you go on to Moving, right here?
Oh, wait. So what do I search on to find that?
Movingpartspress.com
Slash
/news.
news. All right, let me see.
Moving Parts Press, all one word,
Okay.
.com /news.
I guess
Do I
we
need
will.
to unshare so you can share?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can stop your sharing.
Okay.
And now I can share.
Learn something new every time.
And let's find this thing here. There's Moving Parts Press.com/news. Is there a video? Here?
Okay.
Is this
So
a video?
so when you move down on the page and you see links, you would click on the links, go back up to where you see a red underlined link at Chicano and Chicana art at the top. So start at the top and click on Border Bus at the very top where it's red underlined.
This here?
At the very top.
At the very top, Border Bus.
At the very top.
I don't
Yeah,
see anything
now,
at the very top that says Border Bus.
okay, now just.
You're seeing this, right?
Yeah.
Do you see Border Bus at the very top?
Click on the first link right there.
Border Bus. You don't want Border Bus.
Necropolitics of extraction. Necropolitics, yeah.
Okay.
Those are the things I was going to show, because these have to do with the kinds of things that she's working on in terms of, she has a press at her house, and so she's actually doing, printing these pieces. And she also has to do with writing them. So if you just keep going down the list of things there.
This here?
So this is, it's about typography, it's about printmaking, book design, it's working with interculturally to present conditions that are happening in the world, and primarily Latin America and the States. And so let's go back and look at the next one. So these are books that she's involved with, either designing them or printing them or working in partnership with the author, and sometimes does illustration as well. So if you go back to the home page, go back until you can see, then
This
So
here?
that in order to present, go down to Khalifas. Just keep scrolling down in the type there.
Oh, not Califas? Okay.
Khalifas, the journey, the
Right.
one that's just,
Yeah, this one.
yeah, okay. And so this is another accordion book that is full of illustrations like the one that I have here. So these are, as you think about what it is you would love to do, or think in terms of imagining what your directions might be, consider maybe working in partnership with people. Some of this would not necessarily be something that you would do online, but it might be. So there, some of those things. So we can just keep going and looking at the examples of the kind of work that's done, and how she needs to present it in order to communicate with her potential clients. So she works with people who are writers and illustrators, and have so both of those, when both Laura Lee and Felicia won an arts what is it, the Rydell Award. And so these are just a lot of different projects that she's worked on, working with artists and poets, and contributing her own skills and her art and design to the work. So, and this is her site. So I don't know what she's using for the site, but Laura Lee also manages her own site. She has one helper who works with her on that. And I don't think that Felicia has a helper working with her, but that's her press, and she's up there in Boulder Creek.
Out there. Yeah.
So a lot of times the real world crosses over into the virtual world, and she works with people who are involved in other kinds of activities. And when you look at for instance, on down here, there should be doc, undoc should be in the list someplace. But yeah, I think that was only one with sound, was the,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. You know, it's 4:38, so it's actually
Yeah. So to just wrap up on this, this is just to realize that you may have a range of interests in the arts. What I'm reading of that some of the things you have to say is you have really rich backgrounds, and I would like to see you be able to bring that forward and include it in your look and feel when you go online, so that people get a really good sense of the breadth of your work and your range of interests. So like the letter that had the Bridget's, where you talk about your all of the subtle kind of interests, so that all of the ways that you're creative and the diversity that you have. So those kinds of things I feel are very appealing to keep yourself from being typecast.
Oh.
So that you can open up and be yourself and bring what.
Put you in a penitentiary.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm sorry, I had to say that, but yeah, so we want to
Don't shoot me, I'm just a carrier.
yeah, so those qualities carry forward visually. So uh, Felicia was part of a huge show up at Stanford of about 5 printers in the big museum showing their work, and so she had a special kind of, her work is a lot to do with social causes and the conditions between here and the Latin American, that whole scene. So she's been back and forth to try to kind of make everyone aware of what's going on. So she was very involved in that art form. So bring what you have to your book or books or your website that talks about you. Okay.
Oh, your audio just changed somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah, did my audio just now change?
Yeah, it got worse. All of a sudden,
Okay.
it just shifted.
Sounds like you came unplugged or something.
I probably am running out of juice on these headphones.
Oh. Okay, well, maybe this is a good time to take our 10-minute break.
I guess so, huh?
Sounds good.
All right, let's take 10.